Welcome, bienvenue, welcome once again to another live stream. This with Chris Gilsenan of Route Home, which you may remember I do live stream fairly often. Last week, completely scuppered by the internet gods, but now back on dry land, as it were. Today, we're talking about a topic that most people, especially in your game, Chris, are kind of scared to face up to, which is lead generation. How are you doing it? What's working? What isn't?
We've had lots of things that are not working. So, yeah, most of the work that we do has been on market, and that comes with its challenges. So it's very up and down. It's impacted by the seasonality of the markets. So times like now, spring, there's lots of interest in the market. It's the right time to be listing your property. So for investors like us who are looking for a deal, we're back of the queue basically in terms of the estate agents don't want to deal with us because they're getting better offers off the general public, which is totally understandable.
But estate agents, are they chiefly the way in which you find
historically, yeah, we've always had really good success with agents, with building relationships with agents, and most estate agents worth their salt will tell you, like, once you've done the first transaction with them, proved your worth, they will take you seriously and they'll want to do more with you. It's pretty much the same as any business relationship, I guess. So yeah, we have a huge catchment area, so we're covering a large section of England. So building those relationships is quite challenging, and it does take quite a bit of time.
Right.
But like I say, we are very much at the mercy of the market, so the seasonality of the markets, and quite often some of the best deals aren't to be found on market; they're more off market. So quite often we have landlords that are looking to exit the market. They may have between 1, 5, and even more properties, and they're kind of at a tipping point where they're looking to exit for a number of different reasons: the tax reasons, the retirement plan, and just looking to do something better.
So how do you go about finding those kind of people? Because they are they're not a rare breed, but they're unusual, and it has to be said that most of them probably won't know of the great returns that for them they can earn just by selling out to someone like you.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting they'll never have heard of me, which is absolutely fine.
But they've probably never heard of this kind of process.
No,
That's the thing.
So it's challenging. It's very challenging because they're often people who, being a landlord is a second job for them. So it's not their primary focus. It's not what they do day to day. It's just something they also do on the side or as a secondary source of income.
Right.
So yeah, actually finding them is quite difficult because they're just normal people across all walks of life. So there's not one area, one water cooler where they all go and hang out. So it's quite complicated trying to find these types of people. So outreach is very important to us, and trying to spread the message and trying to locate these people.
Right.
But that comes with challenges. So we've spent many thousands on things like Facebook advertising, direct to vendor marketing, writing letters to people, leaflet strategies.
And did you find any one of them brought more interest than any of the others? I mean, can we learn from your experiences here?
Our least favored strategy was probably leaflets through people's doors, just targeting houses in an area where you're looking to acquire. That's very untargeted, very like a blunderbuss, really. But yeah, very little success with that one, and it is area by area dependent as well. So you do have to try a few different strategies and kiss a few frogs, really. Newspaper advertising has been very successful for us, just simple lineage ads. But that was quite some time ago, so we haven't tested that in the last 10 years or so. But like I said, we have had great success.
Newspaper viewership has changed dramatically.
Yes, of course.
The appearance of online versions of newspapers, but because of the way in which they charge, means that more people are getting that sort of information from YouTube or other such places. Would you countenance advertising on those mediums? Is that sort of where you'd want to go?
The best ones that we actually had traction with in the newspaper world were the free newspapers, that you normally find on the bus or at the dentist. Those types of ones.
Absolutely. The
The
Metro
weekly rag.
and people like that.
Yeah. Even the weekly rag, the local rag, and just the classifieds in there, which normally support most of the printing of the paper in the first place.
Right.
Yeah, so they've been really good for us in the past. But now we've had some success working with accountants and in networking circles, that type of thing. So obviously there is an offer in there, and if you think about it in practical terms, how do I get to these people? Which I guess any marketer worth their salt is doing all the time, and thinking about plans of how to do that. The people that do know about landlords and are giving them guidance are their accountants and their tax advisors.
Of
Yeah,
course.
so they're tracking their returns for them.
So in a way, you want to find accountants who specialize in landlords, I guess, and there are some.
There are some. I think that's again probably too niche, trying to go to that sort of level. But I'm sure there is a middle ground at the moment.
Yes.
So as part of our focus for our future outreach, that is one avenue that we're looking to explore to try and build those relationships with accountants. And obviously there's referral fees, that there's potential for income generation if the accountant wanted, or we don't mind paying referral fees for anything that we purchase. Quite happy to do that, because there's normally enough in each transaction to warrant paying people and making sure there's a win-win across the board for people. Obviously, if the accountant view that as a conflict of interest, they could give the money to charity. We're fine with that too. They don't have to take
referral marketing seems to be the big thing at the moment. You promote my service, and I in return, give you some sort of kickback for it. I mean, it is a tried and tested method. I suppose that the technique there is to find those accountants, or enough accountants covering a wide enough spread, so that you'll pull in the rewards.
That's the challenge.
Well, exactly. Have you found any along the way? Have you got any kind of apocryphal stories of how techniques you've applied that have either brought unexpectedly home the bacon, perhaps?
The challenge with the industry that I work in is lots of it is slow moving. Certainly when vendors when they come to make that that sale decision, that can be quite a slow, drawn out process. So you almost have to have a number of irons in the fire at any one point, and to consistently keep doing that. The most lucrative transactions that we've done have just been word of mouth, people watching what we do, us having an initial conversation with people, and it's normally not one step removed, but probably a few steps removed. So I'll go to a networking event, I'll build a relationship with an accountant,
right?
He'll put me in touch with a friend of someone who plays golf with, and his mother might have something to sell. But you have to consistently do that. You have to keep going on the viewings, having these conversations with people, with prospective vendors, putting your offers out there, because you need that piece of paper to refer back to. We've had stuff come in years later. It's like, I thought you died that long ago.
I was going to say that things that we've spoken about in the past, the changes of restriction on housing improvement as opposed to new build, has that had a major impact, A, on the kind of property you go for, and B, on how you modify your own existing property stock?
I think there's always going to be regulatory changes. We sadly live in a world where bureaucracies and technocracies seem to be pulling the strings and pulling our strings. So that's frustrating for a lot of people, and they just want an easier life, which I totally empathise with. But for the people who, similarly for the people who want to exit because of the just having their strings pulled a bit too much, There is a reverse side of that coin. The flip side being that that is also an opportunity for some other people who they will grin and bear it and are prepared to work within those parameters and scale their business based on those parameters. So those are the people to kind of seek out if you are looking to exit. There's definitely a monetizable opportunity between the two. I mean, the EPC stuff that they were talking about bringing in, which they've now done another U-turn on, bumping up. They were talking about it being a minimum level of C, which would make so much stock unusable. I understand why they've done the U-turn on it, to be honest with you.
Yes.
And they were looking at bringing it in this, I think, the next year. They were originally talking about bringing it in, which
well thank God that's scuppered. But
yeah.
you know, let's face it, we're coming into a very weird time. It's going to be the Conservatives' last-ditch attempt to leave a lasting mark on our political landscape for quite a while, I suspect. So they could go one of two ways. They could either do something really, really helpful towards landlords, and landlords have been, let's face it, historically, they're political twins, have they not? With they're certainly mostly conservative. You know, because you know the Conservatives proponents of lower taxes and supporting business growth. That would be a logical place to go. So they could easily do something to help out now. So I was surprised if they put anything through that would scupper those chances for a landlord like yourself. Although I suppose your proposition is slightly different because you're not really a landlord per se. You put together this proposition and sell the whole thing lock, stock, and barrel onto an investor, right?
Sometimes we buy it ourselves. Yeah, so there's different ways of looking at things. I guess having been in the industry for some time now, I can probably look to monetize most things. So it doesn't matter if it's a corner plot that someone brings to me, or a field in the middle of nowhere, or a rundown high rise, or also anything in between, that I can potentially see an exit for it. And if I'm not going to be the end buyer, I probably know someone who might be.
Right. So you act as a conduit in many cases, right? Okay. Yeah, high rise. You'd take on a high rise.
Look at the high rise, yeah.
Wow. So I just thought there were so historically inherent problems with that sort of market.
There's problems in every transaction.
Ah, right. Okay. No. Do you know what? You're taking a much more philosophical view to it.
I try and take a pragmatic approach to anything. Anyone who wants to talk property with me and they have something that they want to try and achieve, I can probably have a serious conversation with them. And if I can't help, I can certainly point them in the right direction with something.
So right now, I mean, I'm just going to get to the point where we're about to wind this all up. But right now, what's really working well for you? Is it referral? Is it doing a small amount of networking and or is it in fact encouraging the places that you've known and used in the past, or for instance geeing up the accountants that you've worked with, etc.?
Yeah, I think the referrals got huge a huge amount to go yet, and it's early days. We've had some very limited success with it in the past, but I think that it's as an investor you need a number of different channels for leads to come into your business. And we've been very reliant on the one channel, which is basically on market retail estate agents, for quite some time. And we have a couple of other ones, but yeah, it's like 90% of our pipeline. So yeah, we need additional conduits to find opportunity. So that's where we're at the moment, and we think we're going on the right direction, trying to find the accountants and advisors who are speaking directly with the landlords that we need to be talking with.
So any of you watching and you have any kind of property inkling that it might be worth running this past Chris, especially if there's a potential whereby it could be taken on, especially if they're in the northeast, I get it right?
Northwest. You're right
Northwest.
first time.
I was right the first time. But it's worth having a conversation with Chris. Remember, each week we tend to talk candidly about issues that face him or face landlords in general. Lead gen is just one part of the puzzle, and there'll be plenty more to discuss next time. But all it remains for me to say is thank you once again, Chris, for taking time out of your busy day, and to all of you to listen. And until next week, I wish all of you a wonderful weekend and, of course, great mental health. Bye-bye now.